Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's Wednesday, in fact, sharing of Harmonize to Energize story time. So welcome everyone, and everyone who's new here today, never heard of Jin Shin Jyutsu before. Jin Shin Jyutsu is an art of harmonizing life energy, which is sometimes called prana, chi, or ki, through energy pathways in the body, and we do that by placing our hands on what we call safety energy locks on these energy pathways, which are left and right side of the spine. It is not a substitute for any medical care that you may be receiving at the moment. Rather, it is a complement too. So today we're looking forward to a mystery presenter, as always. And who is today's mystery presenter? Let's find out.
Hi, Terry, and everyone.
Welcome. It's the one and only Beth Lendrum. Yes. Welcome, Beth. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Terry, for having me. It's an honor to be the mystery guest today on this Jin Shin Jyutsu webinar. And I want to thank also the Jin Shin Jyutsu office for inviting me and holding these webinars weekly with our mystery guests of people around the world. And so imagine not getting out of bed for 8 months with a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. Well, that's where I was 27 years ago. I had been stricken by tuberculosis, and it hit me like a tsunami. And so I spent the majority of that time in bed taking medication. And when I went to my doctor for my final examination, he said, "I don't need to see you but once a year for a chest x-ray." Is what I thought. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't take care of my children. And most of all, I wasn't having any fun. And that's when my journey began to find anything to help me to feel better. And let me tell you, I tried acupuncture, I tried Reiki, I tried traditional Chinese medicine. If there was a modality out there, I tried it. And then I got introduced to Jin Shin Jyutsu. And for those of you who might be new to Jin Shin Jyutsu, it is the strategic placement of hands on your body to facilitate healing. Once I found Jin Shin Jyutsu, I never looked back. And so today I'm here to tell you some stories. I now have had a full-time practice in California. I've just recently relocated to Florida. And I'm here to share some stories with you about how Jin Shin Jyutsu changed my clients, changed myself, changed my family. And the first story I want to share is I had literally taken one class. I knew very little, and my daughter, who was 11 years old at the time, tore her hamstring. So she was home from school. She was a soccer player. She was an avid athlete, would play any sport out there. And at that time, she was playing soccer. And she was pretty devastated, and it was pretty sore. And so she was home from school. We were just watching a movie, and I sat down on the couch next to her, and I said, let me just try this. And I sat, I'm going to see if I can show you. I just sat and I placed my hands, I sat next to her and I placed my hands on either side of her knee. And we just sat and watched that movie together. And after about 30 minutes, we both felt something. She looked at me, I looked at her. It was just a change in the pathway. And in that moment, what I realized was when we give the body a proper pathway using our hands as jumper cables to connect various points on the body. We free up blockage and can bring on transformation. My daughter was playing back on the soccer field, playing in about 4 days after that, to the amazement of her coaches and to the amazement of her doctors. And so I knew I had been on to something really great that was going to make a difference, not only in my life, but to my family and to those around me. And so I studied and studied and studied, took classes all over the world. I even studied with Kato Sensei in Japan. He was the last living master of Jin Shin Jyutsu, and it was the last class he ever taught. So I was so thrilled I had that opportunity to study with him. And then the next story I want to share with you was about a woman who was pregnant and the baby was breech, and her doctor actually sent her to me to see if we could flip the baby. She came in a bundle of emotions. She was so excited about being a mother, but the last thing was never even on our radar screen that she might have to have a cesarean section. And she was in tears, sobbing. This is just not how I envisioned motherhood beginning. So with that, she got on the table to receive a session. And about halfway through the session, the tears stopped. She started to exhale and let go. And we completed the session. And when she got up off the table, she just looked at me and she said, "Now I know it will be all right, however this baby enters the world." Now, I was still relatively new in my practice. And I thought, wow. It was an aha moment for me, how the emotions can change if they're given some assistance. So I find that Jin Shin Jyutsu can support us in our physical body and also in our emotional body. And which came first, the chicken or the egg? Sometimes we don't know. But supporting both of those is really important to well-being. And so then my final story that I want to share with you is about my darling 80-something-year-old client, Bonnie. And when she first came in, she was in a tremendous amount of pain in her shoulders. And she was forming a hump on the back of her neck. And, a dowager's hump, they refer to it as. And one time she was in so much pain, she literally came with 7 different pillows in her hands to have me and the chiropractor that I shared an office with try and figure out what pillow would be best for her to use to help alleviate that pain. And the more she received sessions, all of a sudden she didn't need a pillow on the table. She didn't need to decide which pillow to use, because the discomfort had dissolved. But in that receiving sessions, I also knew that I wanted to give Bonnie some sort of self-help to do at home that she could do for herself in between sessions. And so I'd like to share with you what that was, because I do find that as people grow up, this is an area that does get tight and does show, I always use Winston Churchill as the example, the Winston Churchill hump. And so it's an easy thing that you can do on yourself anywhere and everywhere. And so I'm going to demonstrate for you. I'm going to place my right hand on the back of my neck. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but you can feel in yourself. Often there is 1 or 2 vertebrae that stick out just a little bit. And if you feel around, you might find that that area is even a little bit sore on you. And so just rest your right hand there. And I'd like you to make a circle with your fingers, your thumb going over the nail of your index finger. And just breathe a few breaths here. So in Jin Shin Jyutsu, we don't refer to things as problems, we refer to them as projects. And this hold here is a problem dissolver or a project dissolver. And then you can switch to your middle finger. A couple of breaths. I like the number 3 personally. 3 is all about relationship. And by doing this, by 3 breaths, people can hold on to that more than time. And I invite you at a different time to go through all of your fingers and then switch hands. Switch to your left hand, holding on that tender spot or that vertebrae that sticks out just a little bit. And make a circle with your right fingers. And you can keep going through. I'm going to stop because I'm going to continue talking. But the thing about Jin Shin Jyutsu that is so beautiful is it gives you a way to help yourself feel better, to be empowered in the healing of your own body, and to be involved in that healing. More and more, I find it's just better for us to be empowered. And you can do that flow anywhere and everywhere. If you're a passenger in a car, what a great time to help yourself and to hold that area. And so bringing it back to my client, Bonnie, she did that flow and still does faithfully 2 and 3 times a day, along with coming to receive sessions. And it took several months. This was not a fast project. That's something that had been in her body for a long time. But her spine shifted. So much so that when she went to her massage therapist noticed a difference and coined it the name the Bonnie Move, and teaches all of her massage patients, all of her massage clients, the Bonnie Move. And so I'm so grateful to have had this opportunity to have shared these 3 stories with you. I see I'm a fast talker. Terry, are there any questions in the chat? Anything you would like I should bring to the table, bring forth here?
Well, Diane says she loves you.
Oh, thank you.
No, thank you, Beth, for constant devotion, for sharing. I think she means Jin Shin. That's from Nancy. Your mastermind and meditation classes. Do you want to talk about your mastermind and meditation classes?
Sure. Terry, can you bring yourself into half screen with me at this point?
There we are.
Beautiful.
There is.
Great. Sure. So my website is bethlendrum.com. Terry, maybe you can put that in the chat for me. And that's where you'll find I lead a mastermind program for students who have had at least one basic seminar class with Jin Shin Jyutsu Inc. And there it's like we are a divine community on Zoom, as if we are sitting around the kitchen table talking about Jin Shin Jyutsu. We're in the midst of text 2 right now. We completed text 1 and now we're in the midst of text 2. We take it slow, 1 organ function a month. We draw out the organ function flows and we just have a really great time. I'm not teaching, I'm just facilitating. Everybody pulls their notes together and we all talk about our experiences. So that's the mastermind program. And then I lead a meditation on Wednesdays. So today is Wednesday, so it'll be later today at 7 p.m. Eastern time or 4 p.m. Pacific time. And that also is on my website where you can find the Zoom link to that. And we have quite a lovely group community that has come together for over a year now. So thank you, Terry, for letting me.
Well, I was just going to say that meditation, is it connected to Jin Shin, or is it something?
Oh yeah, it's all it. I call it enhanced meditation because it's a hands-on meditation where we are quietly regenerating as I guide. It's a guided flow of Jin Shin Jyutsu.
Right. So everybody, if you do have any questions, Beth shot through her 3 stories rapidly like a stallion on heat. Well, it was great. It was wonderful. If you've got if you've got any questions, Beth is more than happy to take them. And Ellen just said, "Woohoo, Beth, we love it." And someone said, "Wednesdays are wonderful." Yes, that's good. That's positive. Thank you so much. Any questions? No, I don't see any questions at the moment.
All right. I do have another story I could share since I rapidly. What can I say? I'm a fast talker.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
New Yorker from birth. Yes.
And I actually did debate this story, utilizing this story as well. So you know what? I'm happy to bring it in.
Do you want me to go small again?
No, that's okay. Stay where you are. Be where you are. Exhale. Drop your shoulders. So again, I was relatively new to my studies in Jin Shin Jyutsu. At this point, I had taken my 3 classes that one needs to be a qualified practitioner. And one of my daughter's friend had torn her rotator cuff. And she was young, so then they were getting prepared for surgery. I want to say at this time, this gal was probably about 12 or 13. So she was super young to have a torn rotator cuff. And her parents had heard about me and heard about Jin Shin Jyutsu and had her come. She came in for 2 sessions prior to her surgery. When after her surgery, the doctor came out of the operating room and said to the parents, everything went really great. And he said, it was the most interesting thing. It was like her rotator cuff was repairing itself before I got in there. And again, to me, that was, wow. The power of placement of our hands on our body and what it can do. When we give the body a direct pathway, we can make some transformation and some changes.
Beth Lendrum, Beth Potter Lendrum. Wonderful. Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, I was brand new into Jin Shin Jyutsu, and just what it taught me is to, for everybody to use their jumper cables in any way that you can. Just placing your hands on a strategic place. From the mouth of babes, when my daughter was in about 4th grade, she just said to me, because my children wanted sessions every night once I learned Jin Shin Jyutsu, and of course they were young. They fought over who got the session first and who didn't. And the beautiful thing is it gave us quality time together. That 20 minutes just with that one child while they were receiving a flow. And then my daughter said to me, Mom, when I'm in school, I just feel around for the tender spot, and I just stay there and hold. And I always just love that. And I encourage anyone out there to just, place your hands and feel around where there's a tender spot and hold and breathe and see if you can just dissolve it away.
Wow. Yeah. And to me, I was just thinking that somehow your client had slipped into the connection with that frequency, which had begun with the Jin Shin Jyutsu. And, folks, the Jin Shin Jyutsu frequency, if you understand how Mary describes it, the jumper cable is bringing in universal energy. This is, light energy from the higher frequencies. So just, put your hands on, or, can I just say something here for the benefit of anyone who's completely new as well? And Beth, I think, will support this. You've done remote healing with Jin Shin?
I have. I do a lot of remote healing. I actually had done remote healing prior to COVID for about 2 years, and then once the universe changed, really expanded that. Yes.
Right. So my point was going to be that there really isn't any barriers to energy except the ones that we create. I mean, energy is everywhere. And if you want to connect with someone thousands of miles away who needs some healing hands or whatever they need, Beth and others, I do it myself. I've actually got a teddy bear. And, when I won't go too much about when I first learned Jin Shin Jyutsu, but that idea actually was given to me by Philomena Dooley way back in 1990 or 91 when I first learned Jin Shin in Paris. And she was working on her mother. And she said to me, I have a doll. So you've been doing it. I've been doing it. Other people are doing it.
Right.
Energy. It can travel at, what's the speed of light? 186,000 million milliseconds per whatever's. Yeah, it can really move. And intention is all.
I love the expression, you have the whole world in your hands. And you really do.
Yeah. So that's beautiful. So that's a good, connection there with what might have been happening with the client there with the rotator cuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was a question. I spied a question. Oh, yeah. Elizabeth says, oh, there you go. Does the thumb with index finger flow help with pain on other parts of the body? Over to you.
Okay.
Trick question.
Yes, and remember, it's we, for sake of time, I didn't go through the whole thing. But yes, if you can't, like we in Jin Shin Jyutsu, like the great big hug, where we give ourselves a hug and we're holding the point that's right here at the scapula. But if for some reason it's uncomfortable for you to reach both places, and sometimes for me it is, I will hold one and then I will go through and I will hold each finger for 3 breaths. Of course, I'm going through this quickly right now just to show you as an example. And then I'll switch to the other side and I will go through each finger for 3 breaths. And so, Elizabeth, I invite you to place one hand on the area where you may have discomfort and then try and see. And you may have to go through the cycle a couple of times.
Beth, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you ever add on all fingers into the center of the palm?
I do.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, because thank you so much for that. I do, because and the reason for that is, so that people understand, is that our palms are a big source of physical energy to give you energy in your body. And so, and also to help the energy pathways flow in the clockwise direction. So yeah, I do. Thank you for adding that on, Terry. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's all right. Beth has studied Jin Shin, as she said, for a few years now, and with her study groups and everything, she's gained a lot of wisdom. So I would encourage you all, if you want, you tune in with what Beth's doing. I've yet to myself because of timing issues, but I hear good things about her mastermind group and the meditation. I haven't. What time is that meditation?
It's Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and anywhere where else your time zone is.
Yeah. If you ever decide to do anything on a Thursday or a weekend, let me know. Thursday morning. You don't have to change it for me. But again, it's a good idea. So I hope you all rested in the sanctuary that Beth created for you here. In fact, as she started talking, the song Sanctuary came into my head. I think you said something about looking at me, looking at you. And I'm like, oh, that's the words to a song.
Terry and I have a mutual love for music.
Oh, yeah. Remember when we went and saw Led Zeppelin?
I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was great. Well, that wasn't when it was actually filmed. It was when it was put on the theater.
When it was in the theaters.
Celebration Day. Yes. I think we went all the way to Mesa. Anyone who knows where Mesa is?
I think we did.
Well,
again, Terry, thank you so much for having me as your mystery guest. It was an honor, and I love sharing Jin Shin Jyutsu, and I hope that more and more people bring Jin Shin Jyutsu into their lives.
Yeah, thank you. If you want to hang around, I'm just going to run through what's going on in the Jin Shin world via the website.
Great.
Here we go. Turn the screen share on. Here we go. Here we go. Right. So everybody, just a quickie reminder, www.jsjinc.net is where you go. And these are all the upcoming in-person and online events. As you know, we have more online than in-person, but some in-persons are beginning to happen. But coming up on September the 4th, and this is a double bubble. Originally, coming to our senses was Jill, uniquely by herself. And now we have Jill and Sarah. Oh, my God. More bang for your buck, my friends. September the 4th at 2 p.m. Register today, $35. That's going to be fun. Jill and Sarah work together quite a bit these days. And those of you that have been watching her with them, I should say, with the study group will know that. Here it is, the study group, and in the middle with Maria from Australia. So, you can always join at any time, I believe, with these organic conversations. They're ongoing. They're like a study group. I haven't done one myself yet, busy bee that I am, but you can register today. And of course, there's always replays. And then coming up September the 17th with Anita Willoughby Wallaby Woo, doing the 9 months of creation and the basic rhythmic pulse of life. It's all right, folks. I have permission to be a little bit strange with words with Anita's name. She doesn't mind. Beginning September the 17th, prerequisite 1 5-day basic seminar. There are the dates. Times are in New York time, and that goes for all of them, by the way. Organized here by Deanna Nikaido and Justin McClure. There you go. There's the information. Registered today, $350. Upcoming and past webinars are all here. You can click on the link and get replays. Just a quick reminder, we'll stop that for now. And back to Beth and I. Some of you may or may not be aware that if you want to be a practitioner of Jin Shin Jyutsu at the moment, well, actually, it's going to carry on. Because of COVID, etc., most of the classes are online. You can now qualify to be authorized by Mary Burmeister Jin Shin Jyutsu Institute with 2 online and 1 in person. I would encourage you, if you're doing the online classes, if you can, work on a partner while you're watching, the hands-on part online. That way, when the demonstration's there, you will get a sense. And to be honest, folks, although when you do the in-person class, obviously teachers there with you and people wandering around doing the hands-on too will give you some assistance. Sometimes when you're just focused on one thing and there's not hundreds of people around you, it really can give you a laser-like sense of what you're supposed to be doing because you're not distracted. And if you're in a class with me and Sarah Harper, you might get distracted because we tend to laugh a lot. So, that's a plug for...
Laughter's the best medicine.
Yeah, and so, think about that. And just one more thing. In today, starting today, I think, don't be disappointed, but the fee for the online is now going to be in alignment with the in-person. Why, you say? Well, for a while, the teachers thought it was very helpful for you guys. We know a lot of you have been struggling with work, this, that, and the other, to give you a discount. But, in real terms, everyone gets 3 months of a replay. You don't get that for the in-person classes. You do the 5 days, and the rest is what you remembered, what you wrote, and getting together maybe with a study group with someone like Beth to review it. So don't be too alarmed. The prices will adjust, and it'll be the same fee. I do not know about the replay fees. That may stay the same. We have to find out from the instructors, but that's going to be the new norm. So without further ado from me, thank you again, Beth. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
And I say it all the time, and I don't think I've had a repeat yet, which is great in a way because it shows how many people are enthusiastic to get on. But I'd love to have repeats in the sense of Beth can come on again, Arta from last week, Kelly, and, Sarah and whoever else comes in the future, and they can continue their story. And finally, it's 11:31. Finally, anyone who hasn't contributed so far, please do write to me at info@jsjinc.com. I'll write that in here. Can't spell. info@jsjinc.com. That is where you can send your stories. And remember, it's a what, why, and how. That makes it easier for you to synthesize all the strands of your story together, and it makes it easier for me to read, frankly. And don't be disappointed if I don't offer to present it straight away. We want you to have some, chance to give us something that that you were really enthusiastic about. I'm not too worried if, maybe it didn't work as quick as I would have liked. That's fine. Part of the journey of Jin Shin Jyutsu is accepting that as you breathe out and receive, you go with the flow. So you did something and maybe it took a year. Maybe it didn't happen at all, but you did something and someone had a result. Does it always have to be perfect? Or does it have to be mind-blowing? No, it just has to be inspiring to you. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to say au revoir. Too much of me is always too much of me. And thank you, Beth. And thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Stuff's still going on. But remember, you have a way with your innate ability to harmonize yourself through Jin Shin Jyutsu. Bless you all. And we'll see you. Oh, Friday. We're back here, or I am anyways, 2:00 New York time for the Friday version of Harmonize to Energize, which is self-help practices. Right. I'm really done now. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.